Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
Welcome to Decades. My name is Chris Rubio. I'll be the host for tonight. We have Mememapalooza tonight. Those that have not, or if you've been a fan of Decades for, let's see, two years now, you've seen us do this kind of episode before. Mememapalooza is each panelist sends in 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, how many memes they want. If you don't know what a meme is, wake up from the coma. It's just basically a picture with, I guess, hidden meaning that's not really hidden. It's usually meant to kind of mock something, kind of poke the bear a little bit. I wouldn't know anything about that. We've got a phenomenal panelist tonight. We've got Jim Scarano, Nature Boy from New Jersey. Hopefully his bandwidth is fine. We've got Bill Geiser from Boca Vista, Florida, Del Boca Vista, Florida. We've got Michael McD, always coming in late. Michael, what's the deal? You're always just a minute late.
Teenagers, I'm feeding dinner to. I'm walking dogs. I'm doing dishes. I got all these plates spinning in the air.
I don't
run down at the last minute.
Excuses are like buttholes, Mike. I want, if you can't be on time, be early.
All right, I'll be early from now on.
We've got Tony Siracusa from North Carolina. I was just out in North Carolina. Tony did not come to visit me. I will remember that.
Wow, you blew off the invitation. Let's remember that.
It's open invite as always. And then we've got John Bergeron from, I think it's Miami. You're in Miami, right?
Doral, which is Miami.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Guys, real quick, let's warm up. You could be on set for any movie. You cannot say a porn movie. What movie would it be and why? Tony, I'm starting with you.
Cool. Wow. The Departed.
Ooh.
Just because the cast of it was just so extraordinary that you could just sit there and kind of get lost in the work pretty easily, just watching all the behind the scenes stuff going on.
That would be a good one. Bill Geiser.
Saving Private Ryan, just to work with Spielberg.
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Jim
And
Scarano.
probably the best movie ever made.
It's damn good. Scarano.
So I'm on set. I'm not in the movie. I'm on set.
Well, maybe you could be an extra. You're not you don't have a SAG card, so you're not getting in, but you could be an extra.
They are filming a Spielberg movie in a little sleepy town right here around the corner from me. I was kind of surprised. Anyway, Caddyshack. By far Caddyshack, because I would just be amused and in tears the whole time with all those comedians. You know, Bill Murray alone would have me in stitches.
Fun fact about Caddyshack, and I'm not sure if I've told you guys this before. Bill Murray and Chevy Chase hated each other.
Yep.
And I guess they had to be like literally hammered to do that one scene where, he's playing through Kentucky Hybrid, blah, blah, blah. Like that. I guess they filmed like that at 2 a.m. because they finally got them both hammered enough to function. And so I don't know if that's true or what, but I'm going.
The other story about that scene is they realized after they had the script and they were in the middle of filming the movie that there wasn't a scene in the script with the two of them together. And Harold Ramis and the other guy went off on their lunch break and wrote that scene in an hour.
Jesus.
And then talked, because they were sort of we got 2 SNL, gods here, and we don't have them on screen together at any point. That's crazy. So they did the whole cannonball scene. They wrote in an hour over lunch one day.
Okay. Little trivia. You get a high five from me if you answer this. What Pac-10 school was that filmed at?
Oh,
you got me on that one.
Can we all guess?
Pepperdine?
That's not a Pac-10 school, Bill Geiser. Jesus.
Stanford.
Stanford.
Now, keep going north.
Oregon.
Oregon it is. Oregon Ducks.
There you go.
Tony, I'm shocked you did not know that. I take
You saw
away.
me nodding. I didn't want to jump in and take away other people's guesses.
Oh, you should have done it. John Bergeron, movie that you'd want to be on set.
Papillon, 1973, with Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, about French prisoners going from France to
Great movie.
French Guiana. Probably the only way I'd ever go to French Guiana is with a lot of other people.
Okay. Michael McD.
I think for the same reason Caddyshack was invoked for the comedy characters, but I also love the music, so I'm going to go with the Blues Brothers. I think seeing all those musical acts and hanging out with Belushi and Aykroyd would be fantastic.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Sub 60.
Rocky 1. Burgess
Rocky I.
Meredith, Sylvester Stallone, and that whole crew.
Yeah, but then you got to go to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Exactly. I'd be
Wasn't it?
happy with that.
No, and it was like in the winter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Rocky
out.
1. There will be no rematch. There will be no rematch.
Yet there was a rematch.
Yeah.
All right, guys, here we go.
What about you, Rubio? What about you?
Me. Let me see. What would I do? I would probably pick. Good question. Caddyshack would be hard not to pick. Field of Dreams would be epic. Just the playing ball with your dad scene. Just see if I could get through that emotionally. I might want to go like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, just to see if that guy is as crazy as bastard as I think he is. Just because I kind of want to see what's going on in that dude's head.
I almost said something like I almost said a Tim Burton movie for the same reason.
Well, yeah, Tim Burton, same exact thing. Like, how drugged up are you to think of Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah, right. Exactly. The Pee-wee's.
I could actually see you, Rubio, doing like slap shot.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
yeah,
one.
100%.
I could see you there.
I would
Not
be in the
Tropic
movie.
Thunder.
There's no doubt that I would take over. Okay, Steve Claus's best sports movie ever is Brian's Song. I wouldn't say it's the best sports movie, but I would say it's top 5. And I just did a show last week about it, saying that's a great movie to play in front of a dude. Because number one, if you're on like on a first couple dates and you're a chick, show that movie to him. If he doesn't cry, he's an asshole. That's my take. That's what I'm going with. If like 2 movies that you always show a dude, that and Old Yeller. If they don't cry during either one of those, get rid of them.
I think Field of Dreams. I think Field of Dreams is one of those movies too, where
Field of Dreams,
no emotional reaction.
Yeah, Field of Dreams. Also, Saving Private Ryan, though, when it's like, earn this, like when he says that, Jesus, that's at the very end.
The best sports movie for me is the football one.
Rudy.
Longest Yard.
Oh, Right Side, Strong Side. What?
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Yeah.
Well, that's a hell of a.
I can't even remember the title.
Hey,
terrible.
Hey, Rubio,
all right, here we go.
You know where Piccolo went to school, right?
Where?
Wake
Brian
Forest.
Piccolo?
Oh yeah, he did. I actually did know that.
Yeah, went to Wake Forest. They actually have a building named after him right outside the athletic facilities here.
Well, as they should.
Well,
All right, Sub 60. Throw up the first meme for us. You can pick one. Happy Earth Day. Make every day Earth Day. And he's okay. For those that are listening on iTunes or Spotify, you got a guy with a banner tied to a tree that says Happy Earth Day, and he can't tie it to any other tree because they're all cut down. So make every day Earth Day. Whose was this?
I didn't supply one. I got to confess.
Sub 60, you're on mute. As much as I like you on mute.
Oh, this was Alex's. Alex could not join us tonight, but he submitted one anyway. So this was from Gru. I'm sorry for people who don't know his real name. Gru submitted this in.
So that's kind of a funny one. It's a nice intro one, not too political or kind of political, but just kind of get you warmed up. It's like a little T-ball one. Not too bad. Sub 60, give us another one. How did you get so many people to vote for you, sir? When I said I can't see it, cutting taxes, they thought I meant theirs. When I said I was cutting programs, they thought I meant someone else's. Oh, this has got to be a Michael or Tony.
That is a 100% mine.
Okay, so Michael, explain it to us for those that are watching that are like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not really political.
I think it is predictive as well as humorous in that there are people out there who are shocked. I mean, this news is replete with the stories to find that, you even got newscasters on Fox saying, well, when I said I wanted less government, I didn't mean my VA benefits. I didn't mean my Social Security check. I meant somebody else's government had to be gotten rid of. And guess what? None of us are getting tax breaks because none of us make enough money. It's only the rich guys who are going to get tax breaks. So that's all bullshit. I
think if you knew there was cuts, and you're one of those people, like you said, I didn't know he was cutting me. I thought he was cutting that. You're just stupid. Like, if there's cuts, you're getting cuts. I mean, it's one of those things that, and trust me, don't get me wrong. I understand that a heavy portion of the United States is sub 100 IQ, and they're not getting it. Well, what do you expect? Tony, you want to comment on that one? You like that one, I'm assuming?
Sure. I mean, it's because it's all true. There's,
The funny stuff is,
yeah, I mean, we see people on the news every night. We see farmers, we see veterans saying, "Well, I didn't know he was going to cut my stuff." I mean, we're now at about half staff in a lot of VA facilities with the suicide prevention hotline because, yeah, goodness, we don't need that for veterans now, do we? So
and it's
like
such
you
a
said,
huge amount of our national budget too. The suicide
right?
prevention line.
Yeah, I mean, the cuts are the cuts. I mean, hey, with the one that Gru sent in, right, with all the trees cut. I mean, cutting a bunch of money from the national parks. The national parks actually make money. They actually pull in 56 million a year and cost 35 billion. I'm sorry, 55 billion. I said million, I meant billion. And they cost 36 billion a year to run. They actually run at a profit, but we're going to fire the people who clean the bathrooms and the people who give the tours and things like that too. So the cuts are the cuts. It's ugly, but you know what? He won, and so we're forced to live with it.
That's actually a decent attitude, I think. John Bergeron, what's your thoughts on this one?
My thought is that if he was to able to balance the budget in 2025, would it be worth it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So we are $37 trillion in debt. We've got to cut corners somehow. I mean, Obama can cut 377,000 jobs in one day, Clinton, and then Obama can do 800,000 after his balloon to 2.1 million in 2010. They cut another 800,000 jobs over the next 2 years. So I guess it's just the messenger rather than the actual message and the actual delivery of what's going on.
I think it's the messenger, and so I think it's also the manner. Obama did Clinton had Gore do a study. They did a rolled phase out. They looked at things. They went to the heads of the departments without firing them and said, "Where do you think you guys have fat?" And they whittled away at fat. They didn't just take a chainsaw out and just start hacking people and suddenly realize, oh shit, this means Social Security checks aren't going to be on time. This means no one's working this VA hospital. I mean, it's being like, I'm not saying there isn't fat to be trimmed, but they're blowing up the whale on the beach to trim the fat. You know what I mean?
Well, but it was a different
someone
world
who's totally
too.
in favor of shutting down the entire government to see what we need, right? Let's go 6 months shutting the entire thing down to see what do we actually need.
Well, and this whole NGO infrastructure didn't
Correct.
exist back in 2010. That's a whole new innovation by the Democratic Party to kind of circumvent what they're doing with tax dollars.
But how does
the
firing
$2 billion
that
Stacey,
and an NGO is a good way to kind of, dodge all the hard stuff.
like the $2 billion Stacey Abrams got and her NGO to fight climate.
How does firing park rangers on the VA suicide line?
So why don't we take the $2 billion away from Stacey Abrams' NGO and pay the park rangers? I mean, this is the type of things that we need to talk about.
If that's what he was doing, I would be for it, but that's not what they're doing.
But what will happen is next year when the budget is balanced, they will be able to afford to rehire park rangers where they need them.
By the way, NGOs started with the U.S. in 1945, not 2000 whatever. The first U.S. NGOs were in 1945.
To this scale?
I'm sorry?
To the scale that exists today?
You're talking about a 70-year difference. The scales are relative to the time and the money and the needs of the time.
Absolutely not.
Look, ready, fire, aim is not a sufficient plan, which is what we're doing right now. We're just going in with bulldozers. Oh, wait a second.
I laid off exactly.
No.
Move
when
fast
you lay
and
off,
break things.
when you cut off
for Zuckerberg.
That's garbage. It didn't. When you
wait a
second. No, wait a second. I'm sorry. Does Zuckerberg have to worry about guarding the nuclear weapons? Oh, wait, we laid those people off and then we had to go get them back. Don't please. You cannot run the United States government.
How many
like
people
you run a
died
private
in
business?
the Afghanistan exit doing it the old way?
How many people died when we went into Afghanistan the first time via the CIA to defeat the Soviets? Apples to oranges. let's talk. We have to talk about the way we're doing it. We're going in when a scalpel is needed, and we're going in with sledgehammers. But hey, at least we got, Jackie Robinson off the Defense Department
Tony,
website and the
your
Enola
decision, but I
Gay.
disagree with it.
There you go. We can agree
the
to
only
disagree.
way you can innovate in this world is to move fast, because this deep state and all the lawfare, they'd have them tied up and nothing would get accomplished.
We're not
And it would be the
innovating.
same
We're
bullshit
bulldozing.
that happens one administration after another. This is the
We're not
first
innovating. What have we
legit-
innovated in the last 2 months? What have we innovated? Nothing.
We're moving
Yeah.
fast and cutting shit. That's pretty innovative.
Oh.
If
For
your
you,
household
That's
budget
ready.
was
That's ready,
over by
fire,
this
aim. That's not a
much,
strategy.
if
But
you weren't,
governments
if
don't work
your
like
household
household
budget was over
budgets.
by
It's what
this
I
much,
voted.
you
I
would
gotta
cut
ask
and
Tony
bulldoze.
I gotta ask
Hold on.
I gotta ask Tony something.
Go ahead, James
Go ahead.
Carano.
Rubio, put the meme back up because I want to focus on the meme for a second.
That's sub 60.
Oh, my bad. All right. So you said it's all true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're saying all the voters voted based on what they thought he was going to do for them? Is that what you're saying? Because that's not why I voted for him.
How
do you know that to be true?
I'm not
How
going to
do you
say
know-
all of
How
this.
do you know why people voted for Trump? Obviously,
Okay.
way more
We're going to
people
say
voted
there's
for
truth
Trump than
to it. I'm not going to say it's all true that all voters did it, but we're going to say there's truth to it because voters have gone public about, losing their farms and the trade wars costing them money, and the fact that Trump
They've
is now
gone what? They've
proposing
gone public about it?
he's now proposing a $40 billion fund for the farmers who are hurting because of the trade wars. So the idea of a balanced budget is laughable.
John said, if the state of your home is in that much disarray, in that much debt, yeah, you got to come in bulldozing. And you bring stuff back. You bring stuff
You would
back.
sit down with your family and say what needs to go immediately because
Right.
this is our budget.
And that's
Period,
good.
end of
When
story.
your
Now, what
parents
surprises
lose their
me
Social
is that no one
Security checks-
objects. What surprises me, no one objects to the $2 billion in Stacey Abrams, but there was so much objection over the $5 billion for the border wall just 4 or 5 years ago. So
I think the
please
Stacey
make
Abrams
that
thing
makes
is
sense to me.
What surprises
I
me
think
is
the
no one
Stacey Abrams
objects
thing is
that the
nonsense,
current
too.
what surprises me is no one objects that the current House budget plan adds $4 trillion to the debt while y'all want to sit there and talk about balanced budgets. You're nowhere near balancing anyone's budget. You're not even close. I mean, you got Trump going to
Tony,
the
you gotta
NCAA
give
wrestling.
Tony, he's
We gotta
been in
be
office
closer.
for what?
We gotta be
60
closer.
days, and you think his work
Right.
is done? Hey,
So do you
for
think
4
that
years,
No,
Well,
the
he's gonna
revenue
have
you
from
can
to
do
the
a lot.
tariff-
No,
for 4 years, let's give him a chance.
it's not
So
done.
do you
There's
think
a
the
lot more
revenues from the
damage you can
tariffs
do.
will be terrible? I mean, they were so terrible that Biden not only extended them, he increased them.
Oh, but
So
Biden
what is all
extended
the
specific
drama
ones.
over the tariffs at this point, right? So we're going to
Biden-
bring in trillions of dollars in revenue. We're going to bring in trillions of dollars on selling golden passports, and we're going to reduce the tax rate for all hardworking Americans. And we're also going to stop the foolish spending to DEI programs in Ireland and gay parades in Uganda or whatever the hell else is going on.
So the national budget is primarily a military with an insurance company with a military. It's primarily the social safety net of Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security and the Pentagon. And all of this stuff that a large chunk of this stuff that Elon Musk is running around with his chainsaw cutting is affecting real lives, but it's not putting much of a dent in the deficit at all. In fact, 40% of the contracts he's canceled are prepaid or still have to be paid by their terms. So there's no money saved. So instead of negotiating a better renewal on the contract to get better return on investment, which is what you would do at a business, if you had a contract that was fat, he terminated it. So we're not going to get the services we've already paid for.
No,
He
I've got a-
discontinued
hey.
consultant agreements that have been going on for 20 plus years.
Look at, first
Facts.
of all, this whole thing on this tariffs has been completely spun the wrong way by the mainstream media. Here's some facts. before you laugh, Mike, before you laugh, the United States represents 24% of the global GDP, meaning 1 out of every 4 fucking dollars people spend on anything are spent in the US. We have the world's largest consuming market, and number 2 isn't remotely close. Let me give you an example. Let's just say the 6 of us own Yankee Stadium. All right? And we fill it up for every home game, it's filled up. Are we going to sell hot dogs and beers like at tiny margins? No. We're going to jack up the price. You know why? Because we can. And that's what the United States hasn't done with its market. As a business guy, you're talking about this is what a business guy would do? Well, let me tell you, I am a business guy, and here's what I would do in the United States. I would have I would take the top 20 industrial categories, or 50, make it doesn't matter. And I would find out what percent of the global market and each one of those categories do U.S. consumers consume. And every single guy, and that's what I base my tariffs on. And what you'll find is that we consume 30 to 50 to 60% of every major category in the U.S. So why should we pay 30% for a U.S. manufacturer to sell our products, our U.S. made products in Europe, when the Europeans can sell it in our thing for 2%? Fuck them. 30% there, then I'm going to charge you 30%. You know what's going to happen? They're going to wake up and say, holy fuck, the biggest market in the world just got shut off to us. They'll lower the tariffs on our thing, and the impact on the economy is going to be like a coiled spring. That's what I'm saying. You guys are judging this thing on the immediate cut. You're not given the opportunity, which takes some time, for U.S. manufacturers to jack revenues, which, by the way, they have to pay tax on too. So give the guy some credit. He is a business guy. He's not a politician.
A good one.
So
Not a
he's
good
not a very
one,
good
but he's a business.
Bill,
Bullshit.
Bill,
He's the best. He's the best business guy we've ever had as a U.S. president, and it ain't even close.
Oh, he's the only
Bill,
business guy we've
Bill,
had as a U.S.
So,
president.
Bill, even if I agree,
You make my point, Tony.
Thank you.
Hey, Bill, if Donald Trump did what you just described, I might give him a chance and see how it goes. But he's not taking industrial categories based on logic and numbers. He's levying tariffs out of grudges against countries he doesn't like because of imaginary drugs coming from Canada and immigrants. He's not.
He's been 60
He's
days,
not doing
guys.
it based on any rationale.
So you
He
disagree with the
60 days.
25% of anybody who buys oil from Venezuela? I live in Miami. I live in Doral. That's 100%.
That's not
100% Venezuelan here. Trinity Agua runs around here and murders people. It is no joke. They steal children, they steal women, they rape women, they kill them, they hang them from overpasses. I'm not sure what the problem is, why Democrats want violent gang members in the country.
You got that from what I said, that I want violent gang members in the country? That I don't want to tax Canada and Mexico?
You said it's some sort of vendetta against made-up drugs coming across the border.
That was about Canada. Because
Canada.
Where do you think the drugs are coming from? It's going to come in the easiest point, the softest point.
China.
It's coming
I don't
all
have
from
any
China,
problem.
north, south,
I don't
east,
have
and
any
west.
problem with determining who is a gang member in our country and getting rid of them. I have no problem with doing that. But just grabbing anybody with a tattoo, that doesn't make sense to me.
You know, I trust that the organization ICE is doing a better job of vetting those people than the Biden administration vetted the people coming into the country. And
Bill, how many top 10 most wanted FBI fugitives were caught under the FBI of Biden? How many were caught, do you think? Top 10
0.
fugitives. Correct. How many do you think Cash has already caught?
10.
That's right.
Which one? 10?
10?
All 10.
Wow.
Rubio, give me a 10 with your giant hands. Let me see.
Whoa. 10.
So,
who were they?
Because they're not going after the guys that, call trannies.
They're not going after J6ers anymore.
All right.
The FBI is now.
Sub 60 on that note, pull up another meme for us.
I'm nervous.
This one's mine right here.
Okay. So
Yeah. So we've heard, there are riots that we heard, during Black Lives Matter and things like that in 2020. It's mostly peaceful protest when they're burning down cities. What they did in Minneapolis is a travesty. The same kind of vision, I think, on the other side is, Snow White, mostly successful, right?
That was a bomb, I thought.
But, it seems like they'll defend this one to the end because of other reasons, DEI reasons or whatever. I just really hope that people realize that merit-based success is the biggest success and the most warranted success, and choosing people off of their skin color or other things, their inherited traits, is just not the way to go. And I mean, trying to get a Latina to play a Snow White, make it a different movie. Why does it have to be a remake of Snow White, right?
I haven't read much about Snow White. I don't think it failed because she was Latina. I think it failed because it sucked. It
failed because she went out and said, if you voted for Trump and if you did this, don't watch the movie. If you do this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. She was very condescending and turned a lot of people off. So the Rotten Tomatoes are like at 22% right now.
And they didn't even use real Sub 60.
Yes.
And he came back.
And that was the other thing. Me and my son were talking about that. That was total bullshit.
And the worst part about
that's why it failed.
Calm down.
That's why I didn't watch
That's why it failed.
Calm
That's
down.
exactly why I didn't watch it.
They should have gone with Time Bandits instead.
You have to go. Everybody has to go watch Death of Snow White.
Or Time Bandits.
Isn't it still in the movie?
Real dwarfs. Why
isn't it still in the movie?
Death of Snow White premiered the same day that Snow White premiered. It was an independent film. It's basically, it has real live little people playing the dwarfs.
How many? Dwarfs. I only see movies that have double-digit Sub 60s.
No, that's Time Bandits. I don't know. That's my cause in life now, to get us on TV and movies.
Well, you want to tell everybody about your license plate in high school?
Yeah.
Rubio still goes. I want to see the picture. Yes, it's the one that said Dwarf Fate. I have a picture of me. I think I'm actually wearing my Gonzaga wrestling shirt too, now that I think about it. Said Dwarf Fate, and I used to tell people I was the 8th dwarf that got cut.
That's why there was only 7. Well, which one?
What would your name?
I can't remember what I called.
You used to tell me you were horny.
Yeah, there you go. Probably. That's great. That's just all over the internet.
I just got a visual of Sub 60 humping my leg.
Oh, why?
Good God.
Why your leg? Ooh.
Exactly. Why your leg?
I don't know.
You're not that good looking, Rubio.
Grabbing your leg.
He's got better taste in legs than that.
No, but as I said, that movie failed because there were CGI dwarfs in there. Not because
that's exactly right.
So, Tony, what did you think of that meme?
I mean, that was fine. It was, it proved it made the point that he wanted it to make. I didn't really follow the whole Snow White drama stuff because.
Yeah, we got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I just didn't. I didn't know that it was a big issue, but the meme made the point that he wanted it to make. So, well placed meme.
I think it's the Snow White issue is just the original was great. Okay, everyone's seen it. If you wanted to or not, you at some point had seen Snow White. Just just make the same damn movie. That's all you had to do. It's like
Or don't make a remake. I'm sick of the live action movie. It's the cartoons. There's no reason to do it.
There hasn't been a good movie.
It's just a stupid money grab.
Well, and she said some things like
other movies
having a guy kiss you while you're sleeping is weird, so they cut that part out. I mean, that was the whole basis of the original movie.
I mean, like,
make a different movie is kind of where we're at with that.
I agree 1,000%. That's a no-brainer. Sub 60, give us another one, bud. I can't see this. If you're texting war plans to journalists on Signal.
I think you have to be familiar with the scene from The Wire where he realizes the guy's texting out the undercover cop stuff on a regular phone and getting picked up.
Oh, okay.
We're making fun of the guys who are on Signal doing war plans, and they meant to get. I guess I don't know why they put in an Atlantic reporter, but they did.
Yeah, so that's going around right now. For those that aren't hip on what's going on. Basically, Hegseth, I think JD Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, a couple other people were on, and they're using Signal.
Marco.
Yeah. Signal is just like a text messaging app that government uses. Supposed to be it's more secure. It's like a WhatsApp type thing. And they accidentally or somehow, some way, one of these Atlantic reporters got in this text thread somehow.
He was put on there.
They added him in.
He was as surprised as anybody that he was on there.
Yeah. And they were saying like, okay, we're down with the Houthis. We're tired of Europe, freeloading off us, blah, blah, blah. Not anything necessarily that these guys wouldn't say in public or have said in public.
No, it was 3 days worth of stuff, and some of it was about which cities to bomb. Okay. It was pretty secure stuff, and actually, Signal is pretty easily hackable, and the government has told them not to use it. In fact, Heggs' office sent a memo out like 2 weeks ago saying stop using it, and so here we are again, Hillary Clinton ignoring the rules and putting a server in her basement. These guys are ignoring the rules and using an app, and they're not secure.
Well, what is it? There's got Bill, guys, maybe this is a you or Bergeron question because you guys are tech guys. Is there an app that would be completely secure besides just talking to one another? I mean, I don't know. You're
supposed to go to a J station, a laptop, I forget what they're called, in your office, and they're more secure. Yeah. And if you're going to do stuff like that, you're not even supposed to be doing it on a smartphone at all.
Anything wireless can be hacked, Rubio.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. You're supposed to be on a fixed wire computer.
Yep. Hegseth has a skiff in his house now. I mean, this could have been done with one person in the situation room on a phone to the others because the situation room phones are secure. Right. There were a million ways to do this, but they think they're the new generation of coolness or whatever.
I think the guy that looks to be the culprit here is Walsh. Walsh appears to be the guy that might have really screwed up, and I may be veering a little bit towards my progressive friends, but in a way, I would like to see a head roll.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you why.
I actually totally agree on that one.
I think it would be good for this administration to kind of, on this score, put up or shut up and say, we don't tolerate these kinds of mistakes. And then I would point back to Afghanistan in our exit there and say, we should have done the same to Milley and Austin and those clowns. Head should have rolled there. They weren't. Okay, that's water under the bridge. We're going to do it a little bit different here. And Walsh looks like the guy that kind of fucked up. And you know what? That's a mistake. That shouldn't have happened.
Let me ask you something, Bill. What do you think the odds are that heads are going to roll?
I'm going to say 50-50.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Because Trump, if you remember in his first administration, he was pretty quick to fire people. And I think that's more of a business orientation. In business, man, you got a problem. The longer you wait to deal with the problem, the worse the problem gets. So moving fast on something questionable like this is probably the right course of action.
Yeah.
The guy made a mistake, but you know what? We put people in those critical positions to not make mistakes.
Yeah, he's got to set an example. I mean, when I was a teacher, I remember first 3 days, Grana, you'll understand this. There's always one kid who's Captain Asshole. He thinks he's the leader of the pack, blah, blah, blah. And you have to make that kid an example. You just berate him. I'd probably be arrested for how I taught back then. But you go right at him, not physically, allegedly. But you just go at him and you say, hey, this is not going to happen. And you make an example at him. And then everyone else just follows that dude because.
Yeah. And in the mafia, the head guy goes over and just takes the head right off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Robert
at 50-50, Bill, you really went out on a limb there because you're going to win either way with your predictions. So I think it's got to be a little top heavy. I'd
be willing to bet it's more. Yeah. I bet he's going to. I don't know, but if I'm a betting,
I don't know. That's why I went 50-50.
I think Tony and I
can tell you. I hope
Tony's shaking his head now.
All these guys.
I hope a head rolls.
Well, and here's
I think he's actively looking for his replacement as we speak.
I agree with you, Bill. It seems as though Walsh is the one who added the reporter into the chat, and so he's clearly the most culpable, at least for the moment.
At least for the moment. Maybe it's somebody else, but somebody screwed up.
But with reference to his first term, which, yeah, I remembered, I still have PTSD from it all these years later. It was easier to fire those people because most of them weren't his. He had people around him who were lifelong career professional politicians who put this team together. It was easier to unload them. Most of these people are his sycophants that he put into place because he knows how to jerry rig the system now better than he did in his first term.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, sure. But I think ultimately, Trump is pretty much the buck stops with me. I'm where all the decisions end up, being accountable for. So,
can I ask a question?
I think he'll, if as painful as it is, he'll get rid of somebody.
Here's a question coming in from Shane. Shane said, "Would the left then respect him for doing the right thing?"
Yeah, no. If he fires the right guy, I would absolutely respect him.
Sure.
I'm just afraid to put it in a different way than Tony put it, but maybe a little cruder. If all of these guys stick their nose up his butt, he's not going to fire any of them. It's what he likes. If they're all his sycophants, if they're all his yes men, he's probably not going to fire anybody. He'll find someone else to fire. He'll pick somebody a chopping block head, but it won't be the person really at fault. If the person really at fault tells him how great he is every day, that guy gets to stay.
But then
I think there's going to be pressure on Walsh to resign, and they're actively looking for his replacement right now.
So let me ask, you guys are all obviously way smarter than me, but
stop.
How big of a fuck up is this? Like, I have no idea. I would have never.
It's not Afghanistan. It's not Benghazi. It's not 30,000 emails on a server.
My feeling
is it's a fuck up.
My feeling is
it could have resulted in severe ramifications.
The carelessness, for me, it's the carelessness, not the result. The carelessness is it could have been a different reporter who didn't do what this guy did, which, among other things, and we can say he did some bad things. But one of the names you haven't heard yet is the CIA subject matter expert who was on the call briefing them, because the reporter was smart enough to keep the CIA agent's name out of it. If it had been some jackass at the National Enquirer or the Daily Beast, the entire
hey Mike, that's his handler. That's his handler.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if it had been if it had been some other guy, it could have been the entire fucking transcript was on the web 20 minutes later.
All right, so it sounds like it's a pretty big deal, but I'm concerned that everything is going to be under a microscope, and every little tiny mistake. Now, obviously, this is not a little tiny mistake, but there's going to be people that
the faster
make
they
mistakes.
deal with
There's
it,
going to be people that make mistakes.
Hopefully
he loses his job.
I think by Liberation Day, we'll have a new national security advisor.
You know how it's a big mistake? Bill Geiser and I are agreeing on it.
You have to remember too, his one of Trump's Middle East emissaries, Stephen Witkoff, was actually in Russia in this chat on his phone when this whole thing was put in the chat. You think the Russians didn't pick up everything that was on his phone? I mean, my goodness gracious, this is why we do it in person, in the sit room or in skiffs, and not over a phone. Was it a huge deal? No, because as much as Trump is now, and this is the other reason I don't think Trump will fire, maybe he does resign, but I don't think Trump fires him. Trump's response was to trash the reporter. Look, the reporter had this information before the military strikes happened, and he sat on it for the sake of the security and safety of the soldiers. If he'd gone public with that, the collateral damage on this would have been enormous. And he sat on it for the sake of the soldiers.
And he would have been hung for treason if he had done something stupid.
Why would it be treason? This is a public chat.
If he would have put American soldiers' lives in jeopardy, yes, absolutely.
No, the guys.
For an accidental text message, yes, absolutely. They would have definitely gone.
They were talking to each other. They just didn't know who else was in the room. They're the ones who put it on a commercial chat.
Okay.
No, I think we all agree it was a disaster.
Yeah, here's the question. Here's the question that nobody's asking. Why was there an extra number being added? Maybe it was a fat finger. What number was he trying to add?
So the theory I heard was you're on a cell phone, you got your contacts. This guy's name was Jeffrey something. He hit J, and it auto loaded J Goldstein instead of J Vance or J whoever else was on, and the guy didn't notice that he put an extra J somebody on there because there was at least 2 other guys whose first name started with J on the call, and so that's the theory, is it was just a stupid clerical error. That being said, if you're going to talk about this stuff, you probably want to go back and look at your distro before you start doing it to make sure you don't have, Putin on there as well.
Yeah, I would agree on that one. Sub 60, let's go to another meme. It says, hard to swallow pills. If you find yourself agreeing with corporate media, millionaire celebrities, and the billionaire tech oligarchs, that you are not the resistance. It's a pretty good one.
Who's corporate?
Tony, is this you?
No.
Bill Geiser, what's your comment on this one?
Well, I think it's kind of obvious. Basically what it's saying is that the left, the liberal left, is pretty well in control of Hollywood and mainstream media, and that there's a lot of synchronization and messaging and whatever the current narrative is. And so if you're agreeing with them, you're not part of the group that's trying to ferret the truth out.
No, you know who the most mainstream media is? Fox. It's the biggest funded. It is the most well-funded. It is the highest rated in terms of news.
I include them as part of Pravda too.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, 100%. I think that one's kind of obvious, where it just shows like, okay, if you're, everyone's like, oh, fight the man. It's like you literally are the man at this point. Like,
the question is, who submitted it?
Oh, that was me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my guess, was Rubio.
I told Sub 60, I said, this is an extra one in case we run out, but I don't know if he just wanted to poke the bear a little bit. He's probably still fired up over CGI dwarves, which I would be as well.
I already am.
Sub 60, give us another one, my man.
Peter Dinklage should be ashamed of himself for what he did.
What's an oligarch?
We won't even get talking about Peter Dinklage. He's just, you want to get me, I'll be fired up like Gru.
He's got a phenomenal business plan.
We won't even consider him.
I didn't even get to comment on the last one. We're going in the next one. Holy shit.
Go ahead, Jim.
I just, the word resistance just kept like, I don't know if it was because of the last word, but it just feels so tension ridden, and like, why can't we just love each other more? I don't know. It's so much hate. That's all I hear is, we hate him. We hate him. We hate your party. We hate your party. Your party's worse than your party. And it's like,
the term I want to bring back is when people used to call each other the loyal opposition. You know what I mean? Like, we're all Americans here, but we recognize that there's 2 sides of the aisle, and we're all trying to figure it out. I mean, I miss the days when Tip O'Neill would go to the White House and drink beer with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
You couldn't find 2 guys on more opposite sides of politics in some ways. And
I think COVID was the thing, and the vax, and that became political, and
I started well before all that.
I think it was before then.
It was before then.
2008.
Yeah, it was before.
They wanted to take your jobs away.
It was definitely before Bush v. Gore, because Bush v. Gore.
It was before then, because today's Republican Party, they'd be calling Ronald Reagan a rhino. They'd be calling him too liberal.
I think for me, it really exploded in 2008 with "You're racist if you don't vote for Barack." And to me, that's when I really realized that we're in some deep trouble here.
I think it exploded in 2008 when the Tea Party had rallies with nooses threatening to hang the black guy.
Yeah, that's true too.
But then you still have rallies. You have rallies that are doing that right now with Trump's body, like literally daily. I mean,
anybody going around
not
saying
okay.
hang somebody is stupid.
That's not okay.
No question.
They're ways to resist without that.
One of the most interesting interviews I ever heard was the guy who coined the phrase Tea Party, who was a tax accountant who was angry about the way tax dollars were spent. And he coined the phrase, and the movement got started. And 2 years later, in an interview, he said he felt like, because the Tea Party collected people from all walks of life, not just people who were focused on tax dollars. other issues became part of the Tea Party. And he said in an interview 2 years later, what do you, and you can take it or leave it, but he said, what do you do when a lot of the people who agree with you about tax dollar spending also seem to be comfortable hating black people? Because he felt like the movement he sort of helped start had become confused with other sentiments that he didn't agree with and he found frankly reprehensible. And I think that goes to Tony's point about the noose that wants to hang the black guy.
Or Elon.
And by the way,
I always found the race card very hilarious, coming from the left for sure, because what I always found living in the South, that, you know, from Louisiana, that's 44% black. I lived with them and among them. And it was very curious to me that it was always the Northerners that always told me that I was racist. So it's so confusing. And I wish we would get to a point to whenever I was a kid where can we just all get along? We're a melting pot, and race shouldn't even be a part of this.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get back to there.
Don't get me going on the inner city Chicago, which is for the 13th year in a row, the murder capital of America, and it's all black and black. And the 100-year regime of the Democratic Party that's run Chicago turns its back on that year after year.
But Bill, you can't ask about that because it's
genocide.
Racist simply to ask about
it's as
inner
close
city
to
black
genocide as anything I've ever seen.
I asked this: 250 black Americans die every single year in the city of New Orleans, and it's sad. And nobody asked the questions why. Nobody cares anymore.
Nobody cares. You know,
and whenever I ask the questions, why is this happening? They say it's not your problem. You're being racist for even asking the question.
Well, I've got a good friend that was a Chicago cop for almost 30 years. And I asked him that question after he retired. And he just looked at me and he goes, there's no money in it.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's wrong.
All right, let's go to another meme. Text
I saw this one too. This one's great.
Same thing, signal one. I don't think we need to beat this one, but that's actually pretty funny. I like that one.
Thank you.
Good job, Tony.
Thanks. It's what happens. It's what happens when you have a DUI hire for the Defense Department.
It says the slippery slope.
Uh-oh. This
Then
one's mine.
His Bergeron, let us get married.
Yeah, we were all about, you know, gay rights and everything back when it was, you know, let love be love. But what we've seen over the past, since COVID, a very slippery slope of, you know, just radical teachers just in these classrooms teaching these children about, you know, gender ideology to, you know, grade schoolers. And I just think that's an 18 and over sort of situation, and it shouldn't be in our schools. It's a very slippery slope to me. And where does it end? Will it get to where I see, you know, I've seen normalization of pedophilia in some places, and it just sickens me.
That's mostly Christian churches.
Yeah, that's mostly
church
Boy Scout
pastors
Boy
getting
Scout
arrested
troops and
for
confession
pedophilia.
booths.
That's
I gotta say, I don't know about the rest of you, but I have a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter in the Montgomery County, Maryland public school system, possibly one of the most liberal and progressive school systems on the Eastern Seaboard. We are in the neighborhood where NIH is, so not only are we filled with international people from countries all over, but we are consistently incredibly blue in our voting to the point where it drives me crazy sometimes how politically correct we can be. And I have never heard of any of my friends in this area or my children or anybody feel like their children were taught to be a different gender, to be okay with pedophilia, to dress up and dance. I will tell you that I feel like there are isolated instances of horrible behavior. Guess what? Men used to go to little boy prostitutes in the 1800s every day and no one talked about it. This shit's been going on forever. Don't blame the Democrats. People are fucking sick. It's horrible. But it isn't institutionalized on the left. It just isn't.
State senator.
It only exists in the paranoid dreams of Fox News.
How about the
Yes,
Republican
until
yes,
there's a
senator from
female-
Yes,
Michigan?
there are isolated incidences of people being fucking crazy, and
Let's
yes,
go-
there are people who are too politically correct.
John,
Or-
I don't know if John's
Until there
talking-
is men competing in women's sports, right? I mean, this is
How many?
unless you have a daughter and you're not affected by it, who cares, right?
But I mean,
But
how
there are
many?
so many women getting isolated or ostracized because of this policy, and it's just mind blowing to me.
There
So,
are
John,
there are
How many
300. No, sorry,
transsexuals are in sports?
I'm stepping in on this one because it's my world. There are
Right.
300,000 college athletes in the country right now. There are 10 transgender athletes. We're creating solutions, searching for a problem.
It's a wedge issue.
We're
Yeah, it is a
creating
way-
exceptions
it's-
for a
God, one of them won an
radically
Olympic gold medal
low
in
number
boxing.
of people.
How's that?
John, I have a question.
How'd you like
The
to work
boxer
your whole
wasn't
fucking
the
life?
boxer wasn't transgender. He was transgenetic. There's a difference.
He had a dick.
You see it?
So,
I
as
didn't.
it goes down the
Okay,
But
slope,
it's there,
You don't know that.
and one is too many.
That's
John, it goes down the slope, and the one that says about teachers, it says teachers choosing my kid's gender. Isn't that what it said?
Yeah, or
So
at
are you-
least
are you
isolating the
questioning-
ideas,
Are you
isolating the
questioning
parents from those.
curriculum, or are you saying there's just rogue teachers out there that say stupid shit? Because
There are
that
policies in place now in liberal schools that exclude the parents from these conversations 100%.
Well, it
And-
just happened yesterday in
Is that
Colorado.
happening?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What
it
about
just-
your state?
And if you think it's okay for a 11-year-old boy to be chemically castrated because
I
he
did not
feels
say
a
it was
certain
okay.
way and his parents aren't included, I think something's terribly wrong with this situation.
Where did
There's
that
not a
happen?
School in this country where a teacher has castrated a kid while they're at school.
I didn't say a teacher. I said a teacher and the student the teacher has helped the student go along with this outside of the parents' knowledge. It has happened
Oh,
many
There,
times.
there is
But that's not a
there's-
policy
no,
thing.
no, there is not a surgeon in the country who would castrate an 11-year-old without their parents being involved. They
Are you-
would be
That's
be
not
thrown
true.
out of the country.
I'm
It is
confused.
true.
I'm very confused.
That is
I
not
don't
true.
understand. Are you saying a
parents
teacher?
are
It was the
ostracized.
teacher. The teacher was delivering curriculum that this was based on, or was having a private conversation as their counselor. Like, how did this happen?
I don't know
I don't
how it
understand.
happens, but there are policies in some of these schools that don't allow the parents to be involved when a student is questioning its gender, and the teacher wants to get a parent-teacher conference going. There are rules in place where if the kid does not want the parents involved, the parents will not be involved, and so they can go through all the way through the process. There's many cases of this happening.
No, there are rumors of many cases of it happening. There's no actual doctor who has ever been tried for doing this, which would be a crime if they did it, and certainly they would be indicted and charged and thrown out of the
got to
AMA.
that point,
And there's not
I
one
would welcome you to
doctor in
watch
this
the Matt
country.
Walsh movie. Yeah, I know.
I
Of course.
watch real stuff.
I mean,
Of
this
course.
is my world.
Where
Like,
they
I
go
am,
and
I am a
they
school
interview actual gender study professors and teachers, and some of this is covered.
Well, professors means college, which means they're 18 years old or older, and they can make their own decisions about what they do with their life. The
Teachers.
accusation was it was happening to 11-year-old kids. There's not a doctor in this country who's going to do
I
that.
can't even
and
find
be
the
thrown
11-year-old
in
kid.
prison
Look it up.
for it.
I mean,
And there-
I've had.
If you're a nurse at a school, you can't give a kid a Tylenol for a headache without
Yeah.
being in trouble.
No, you're right. So as a counselor, like, I have kids come to me with that kind of shit all the time, but I don't sway them in
Right.
any which way. I mean, I may listen to them, validate how they feel, but I'm not saying, oh yeah, go get that procedure or don't get that procedure. And as far as telling their parents, so what we always say is, what we talk about stays private unless you tell me you're hurting yourself, somebody's hurting you, or you're hurting somebody. So I don't know where that falls in that category, but I probably wouldn't call mom or dad up. I might have
Irrational.
conversations with them and tell them that I'm working with your child. What's going on at home? What do you see at home? And if they jump on it, then I'm going to talk about it. But you can't sway somebody. I mean, maybe there's idiots out there that might do it. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, and you
And,
can't-
and while we talk about curriculum,
But teachers aren't the smartest people in the world, John. I got to tell you that. But counselors,
while
we're definitely smarter than teachers.
And while we're talking about curriculum, I mean, and we talked about Louisiana, hey, let's get the 10 Commandments up there, because I'm eager to hear a teacher talk to an 11-year-old about thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. That's a great topic for discussion in a Louisiana elementary school.
I think that's fantastic. It teaches people how to be morale within the covenant of marriage.
You bet. Let's teach the 10-year-olds about adultery.
Right,
Oh,
about how
man.
it's bad to commit adultery. I don't understand.
Because first you got to teach them what adultery is. That's a whole other chapter.
Yeah, hey, Johnny, Alice, you'll get married in the future and you won't cheat on each other. It's bad to cheat on one another. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't see that being a hard one.
Yeah, well, define cheating to the 9-year-old and the kid whose dad went out on mom, and it's a topic that doesn't belong in second and third grade.
Define cheating to Donald Trump. He's got a great marriage record on that regard.
Oh, touche, Michael.
Okay, we've got 3. We have time for one more sub 60.
I'm really nervous.
When I got Democrats to protest electric cars, that's a funny one. You got El Trepo next to Kash Patel, and basically anyone that's got their head out of the sand right now. You've got Democrats keen, burning Tesla dealerships.
Actually, electric car sales are up with other companies that aren't Tesla.
It's funny because Trump ran on cutting the subsidies for electric cars, and then he's got his buddy Elon funding his campaign. So that's
Elon, his company was
meme.
largely built on
No more handouts.
I submitted that meme.
They're all
really
handouts.
for 2 reasons.
Why still?
The first one was it kind of talks to the fickle nature of the progressive left, which is, 12 months ago, they loved electric vehicles.
I still do.
Save the
not
the
Elon's.
world. And now that Elon kind of, pick sides, not theirs, they hate him. They hate him, and he is the world leader in EVs. No one's even remotely close to him.
Not for
You know
long.
what? You know what else he's the world leader in? The fire and explosion rate on the Tesla trucks is higher than it ever was on a Ford Pinto. Congratulations, Elon. That's some great technology.
I don't think they turned away.
Well,
from
the
cars. I
fact
think
of the
they turned
matter
away from
was
Elon Musk.
he was the liberal darling until he went against the progressive narrative. And the progressives, you've got to comply with 100% of what that Gestapo says, or you're fucked. You're totally fucked. 100%, not 98, not 99, 100%, or you get drummed out of the court. That's number one.
Or
The other
one
thing
canceling people.
that meme speaks to is the state of the Democratic Party, which is now favorably viewed by, 1 out of 5 people in the country, maybe. I mean, it's the lowest in history, and because their whole plank consists of one item: hate Trump. That's it. That's
And
what
Elon.
the
Hate them both.
Democratic Party stands for.
Two huge villains you
Hate
got
Trump.
there.
The same
Who do you
crew
hate- who do you
that
hate
could,
worse,
that could
Mike?
barely pass high school math can't have things to say about Elon Musk, who've created all these companies and changed the world and will change the
He
world
didn't create
forever.
any of them.
And-
He bought them. He didn't create a single one of his companies.
He
bought
created
already
the
existing
businesses
companies.
that made him.
I
to
just
scale.
don't understand why.
First of all, he's
He bought
the
already
world
existing
leader
companies. Don't give him credit for
Wait,
creating
Tony,
them.
let me
shouldn't-
finish.
you
Let
shouldn't-
me finish. He is by far the world leader in climate control stuff. You like power walls, EV chargers, Tesla. No one has done more to create a smaller carbon footprint than Elon Musk. Number one.
With government funding.
Wait, stop. He's paid all that off. Number two, reusable rocketry. Reusable rocketry. Everyone says, oh, he's getting rich, billions of dollars off this thing. Do you know how much he saves the U.S. government by being able to put a rocket up, land it again? He's the low-cost provider by a long shot. Look at what he's doing to help humanity. No one's in this guy's league, but he's hated because he's helping Trump. That is a shallow-minded mindset of the progressive weirdos. And the Democratic Party lost control and may go out of existence because they allowed those far left idiots run away with the party.
Well, when the Optimus robots are released, I'm going to show this video of that Michael and Tony did not like Elon, and they'll just figure it out, right?
So I'll say two things I agree with you on, Bill. I'm absolutely with you on reusable rockets. I'm glad lots of companies are trying to make them, and I think SpaceX is doing a good job. I 100% support that. And I also agree with you that the progressives changed their mind on Elon Musk. What the Progressive Party did was they took in new facts, they internalized them, and they were able to change their mind about something without being slavishly loyal to a previous conception. They said, oh, look, here's new data. The guy's turned out to be a maniac. He isn't Tony Stark. He's horrible, and so now we don't like him. I can live with that.
Happened to me when I said, "Oh, look, he kicked me off Twitter, Mr. Free Speech."
Of people who have betrayed the Progressive Party, and they get the bums rush.
I don't think he betrayed it. I think he showed his true colors.
I do too.
I think Elon Musk proved to be somebody
they require 100% compliance. 100% compliance, or you're dead to them.
I'm not saying that at all.
No, the progressive left does that.
No, I'm saying the progressive left changed their opinion about somebody based on new information.
We're getting
What's the new information on Bill Maher?
What?
What's the new information about Bill Maher other than he disagrees with some of their points?
I think Bill Maher's a snotty jerk. I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Let me ask.
He was a hardcore liberal. He was a liberal darling too.
He's always mostly
he was always a libertarian. He was always a libertarian.
Oh my God.
But Michael, do you agree that Tesla dealerships and cars and vehicles should be burned up and right?
I think if you destroy private property, you should go to jail for destroying private property.
Because if that was happening on the left, and that was going on, we would all be very outspoken about how terrible it is. Because it probably wouldn't happen.
It's the worst thing for progressive causes right now. Storming any building and destroying anything in a building is
it's not going very well for the lovable, accepting left. It doesn't
I agree.
Look like yeah.
Well, and what's
no
stupid
fight
is
for me there.
Every Tesla's got 9 cameras on it, so good luck with that.
That's the thing I can't understand. Why you're seeing people key the car and
well, I know. By the way, I know Rubio likes his conspiracy theories. So
I love
the
them.
one I saw that I think, by the way, is nonsense. But the one I saw is Tesla's crapping out so much. Musk's paying guys to dress up as liberals and go burn the cars so he can file the insurance and use that as an excuse for the company going out of business. That's the left. That's the far left conspiracy that I'd love it if it were true, but I'm sure it's not.
Just like the NRA was behind the Vegas shooting, right?
Sure.
Let me go to Scarano, then me, then we'll finish.
Well, I just know Tony and Michael appreciate sports. So like a sports metaphor would be Elon Musk, this sensational basketball, football, whatever player. Right. You're going to tell me you wouldn't want him on your team.
Not now, no, because he's proven to be pretty incompetent, actually.
I don't believe you.
Oh my God.
I don't believe you.
Really? Hey, Tony, wasn't it you that was saying what a bad deal that was for him buying Twitter? It's only worth $10 billion.
Yeah, now it's back up to 30 billion. So he's
now
only
it's
lost
up to 44 billion.
Yeah, and how much did he leverage his Tesla stock to buy it? Because the Tesla board's pissed off at him because the banks are calling the notes due.
You're judging him at this moment.
I mean, Einstein was a real Nazi. He didn't get this much hate.
He's not starving.
And plus, it owns 25% of XAI. The guy.
I think you would be glad to have him on your team. I do.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know. He keeps kicking me off Twitter because I I don't speak his love language anymore, so I keep getting kicked off.
The guy gives me the creeps with all the weirdness with the babies and the not answering the wife's text. I mean, I just think,
and when he sat in the
bad
cabinet
person.
meeting the other day and said Social Security, we caught Social Security giving a loan to a 9-month-old baby. That's just stupid. That's just
it's a trust
moronic.
fund.
Social Security doesn't give loans, first of all, ever. And second of all, it was a survivor payment because the kid lost both his parents. So Elon, boy, he really got him. He's going to take the money away from an orphan. He's a real brilliant one.
The only thing I'll say about this is very, very odd. I mean, obviously you've got the irony of climate change bad. Now you got an EV vehicle. We don't like Elon anymore. Okay, I get it. He switched teams. And then now with the burning and the Keen and the wiping their ass on it, puking on them cars, I just don't understand why you haven't had one Democratic leader just come out and say, guys, stop. Like, this is really dumb. Like Michael is saying, like, this is not a good look. This is really dumb.
I've heard a couple say it, but they might not show up on the networks you guys watch. So
I don't watch any networks.
Adam Smith out in is it Oregon? He is saying that's ridiculous. Everybody stop, Senator Smith.
And look, I hate to say it, but the Democrats started this by not inviting Elon to the White House in the EV summit. Biden started this, and it made his revenge story, and it came back to haunt the Democrats in living color.
So this is the vindication tour.
No, it is true. Not maybe. That is true. And I'll tell you what, guys like Elon, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they got an edge.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they got a switch. And when you flip the switch on these guys and piss them off, they're going to come after you. And
so this is all about his vindication.
Fucking with a guy like that is beyond me. That was a massive brain fart.
What does it matter what his motivations are? It's the simple fact that he's doing something on Trump's behalf. You're against it. If he was doing this on Biden's behalf, you'd be for it. That's just the facts.
No. Not the way he's doing it. Nope.
If he was doing
absolutely
Biden,
not.
I would not be.
Not while he's picking and choosing which departments get to keep money while he's still getting his government grants. No way. No way would I be in favor of it. I don't care who the president is, who he was doing it for. I would hate the system in which he's doing it. But hey, at least he got rid of Jackie Robinson's picture.
Had to get this one up before we closed out tonight.
Just so you know, Trump is only on day 62 of 1460.
That's for me.
It's exhausting.
That's for Mike,
guys.
That's for you guys. You got to pace yourself, dudes. It's going to be a long haul.
Guys, I got
to ask one question of John.
As if he doesn't go for a third term, by the way.
Bergeron. Who had the name Bergeron, Rubio? It was like a host or a co-host of
Tom Bergeron, Dancing with the Stars.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, you don't have that. You don't have that one of Musk getting all teary-eyed to throw up there, do you? The one. Don't worry about it. If you don't.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, the Republicans tried to
just one more.
Michael. They tried to keep one out.
I know which one this is.
I do. Let me find it. Got it. It's coming. Just bear with me.
Peter Dinklage would have found it already.
Peter Dinklage doesn't want little people playing the dwarves because he thinks all of society will think that's what we do. We come out of the mines to.
Although he's sitting fat and pretty himself.
Yeah,
that's true.
You guys have a group chat.
That's just funny. Anyway. Yes, he is sitting fat and pretty. Yes.
Okay, so was your winner tonight?
Thunderdome. Oof.
I don't know. Everybody's a winner tonight. How about that?
The real winner tonight is Peter Dinklage.
Yes.
The real winner. The real winner is all those little people from Death of Snow White that premiered up against it, that actually acted, and it went against Disney, and Disney didn't have the wherewithal to put real actors in there. So,
is this a movie that's out now?
Yeah,
I'll go pay and watch it. Just
Google Death of Snow White. I actually read for a part of it, and
nice.
You're sitting here with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What,
Yeah,
what
exactly.
role
So-
were you reading for?
One of the dwarfs.
It was a
roles.
joke.
Prince
Yeah, we know
Charming?
that, man. Would have cracked that code, Da Vinci.
Jesus. I thought it was serious.
Read for
He thought it
horny.
was serious.
Oh,
Prince,
you weren't reading for the NBA
He was
player
reading
named
for Prince
You
Charming.
weren't Snow White?
Red
Oh
for
my
horny.
God.
Red
Jesus.
for horny. He got confused. He thought it was
Hey,
one of the
hey
dwarfs.
Jim, hey
Horny.
Jim, that St. Joe education has just really paid
I
off
know.
on that one.
I know.
On that note, we
Hey,
want to thank
hey,
everyone for
great job,
tuning in to watch Decades Thunderdome. Thank you to Tony, Bill, John, Michael, Jim, and even Sub 60 Ed. Cheers to everyone. The Rubio
Cheers.
Method's coming on at 7:50 p.m. Pacific time. This will be a good one if you guys want to
All right,
chime in. All right. On that note, we're out.
we're out.